Hello everyone, this is Artemis_anime, and today I am reading Immortality is the Definition of Looks Can Be Deceiving by TheFoggyLondonView. Chapter 4. Midoriya gets mad, Shota plans his own funeral, and Shoto decides that marshmallows are A+. Notes. Drops this update on y'all and vanishes. After leaving All Might to Nezu's mercy, more like lack of mercy, Izuku double-checked to make sure he had everything he needed in his bag before heading over to Gym C to teach. He trusts Shota will do his best to run a successful critique, but Izuku likes things to be done a certain way. A hero's costume is extremely important and can't be taken lightly. When he arrives to Gym C about 10 minutes after he'd texted Shota, he finds his former students separating his students into categories based off of how much change is needed. In other words, a lot of change, a little change, and seems fine, but Midoriya gets the last word. He had just called up Bakugo when Izuku walked over. Shota, Katsuki gets a one-on-one assessment with me, so don't bother categorizing him. Shota blinked and looked over. What did he do to deserve you needing to put your entire focus on him? Shota's tone made it clear that getting that much focus was not a good thing. He's my nephew, Izuku stated, like that wasn't the biggest bomb drop of this century. I helped him design this costume, and I need to make sure the support company didn't botch it and that he didn't change anything without my approval. Katsuki muttered something under his breath that sounded suspiciously like, "Shut the fuck up, Uncle Zoo," while looking at the ground, mortified at being called out. Oh, hush, Katsuki. It wouldn't have remained a secret for long, and you know it. One slip-up of you calling me Uncle Zoo, and it would have all been over, Izuku dismissed. Now then, since All Might isn't going to be bothering us again today, let's get this show on the road. What have you got so far, Shota? Shota tried to ignore how much that question sounded like a test to him. He took a breath. He does costume critique every year. He has students make it this far, and helps 1B with it as well. He can do it. And it's not like he's being graded on it. But God, does standing before Midoriya-sensei make him feel like he's answering to a judging jury. Well, I gave a brief on why we're doing this, and then I started organizing the class into the groups who needed the most help. I think... You think? I have reason to believe the support companies who made these costumes are the reasons for most of these errors, Shota corrected. Aside from the rest... comes from not knowing what they need and or how to design. Izuku nodded. Very good. And what were you planning on doing next? Oh God, this is a test. Shota held back a sigh of defeat. I tell the students to come up with at least 3 initial improvements that can be made. I also want a written list of complaints that they have with their costumes by the end of the day. After, I let them have solo time to try their costumes out with their quirks and give them 3 more improvements related to their quirks. And if they can't think of anything, lead them in the right direction with open-ended questions. Good! Izuku seemed pleased. How do you handle the costumes that are completely and obviously unacceptable from the start? Aizawa tried not to fidget. Take note of them and take it up with Powerloader after the last bell. Could be better, Izuku noted, ignoring Shota's wince. What have you noticed so far? The class watched awkwardly as Aizawa quizzed their teacher while Aizawa gave off, "God, please strike me down" energy. He showed Midoriya his notepad, which the Immortal snatched from him and began marking up with a sparkly pink gel pen. After a minute of this, Midoriya capped the pen, put it behind his ear, and then turned to the students. All right, everyone. I will be meeting with each of you briefly to go over your costumes before we get any further. So start making notes of anything about your costume that you'd like to be addressed, Izuku instructed, then looked back at Shota. While I'm doing this, you go get 1B out here. It'd be better to do this together after All Might wasted much of our class time. Aizawa simply nodded and left, more than happy to let Izuku take over. He didn't waste time while going to 1B, knowing Izuku likes punctuality, and made his way to the classroom without even stopping in the staff room for coffee. At the door, he knocked twice as a formality before opening the door just to lean in the doorframe while Vlad King stared at him, clearly mid-lecture. Midoriya-sensei wants 1B to join my class for costume critique in 1C right now. What did he do to All Might? Vlad King asked nervously. Aizawa shrugged. Don't know. Midoriya-sensei just texted me to get to Gym C to start the critique while he deals with All Might, and said on the subject when he arrives at Gym C is the guy won't be bothering us again. Oh my god, I was joking when I said we should start planning his funeral, Vlad King whispered in horror. Wait, All Might died? One of the 1B kids asked in worry. Don't worry, kid. He's still alive, Aizawa assured. Midoriya-sensei wasn't gone long enough to bury a body. This did not seem to reassure the students, but regardless of their misgivings, they accepted their costume cases and went to change before following their teachers out to Gym C. When they got out there, multiple 1A students were now in their sports uniforms instead of their hero costumes, and Izuku was fuming and looked like he wanted to burn their costume cases belonging to those students. Instead of doing that, he was taking it out on the students' costumes. This is all show and no functionality, Izuku seethed, all while smacking Ida's costume with his pen, leaving small dents. This is too thin to protect you from anything. Go change, now. Ida backed away before running off to do as he was told. Aside from him, Momo, Uraka, Hakagure, Todoroki, and Ashido were already back in their sports uniform, giving off various levels of relief and or annoyance as Izuku plowed through the class with a sharp, critical eye. No one escaped without needing something to be improved on, be it the outfit needing more material, more armor, simply needing more support gear, or the whole costume needing to be overhauled completely, all the while Izuku murmured about lesson plans. Then he turned and zeroed in on 1B, eyes narrowed and mouth set in a thin line. Why is Shiozukai's hero costume an ankle-length dress? Who approved this? I'm going to be making so many phone calls. While Izuku figuratively tore apart every costume design into little pieces, Aizawa leaned towards Vlad. 10 bucks says he gets another support company to shut down, or at least new management over this. I'm not betting against you when it comes to Midoriya-sensei. You know him too well, Vlad hissed back. I do not. Back in the day, we used to joke about how you were secretly his son, Vlad said. Remember how Tensei Ida once asked if you were Midoriya's secret love child and everyone saw your soul leave your body? Shota sent him a glare. I hate this and I hate you. Both heroes were then smacked with Izuku's notepad. If you have time to gossip, then you have time to teach. Go do your jobs! Aizawa and Vlad King immediately chanted, Yes, Midoriya-sensei, then scurried off to help their students with fixing their costumes. By the time the students were dismissed to change and head home, Izuku had plenty to work with, and boy was he going to chew some people out. This was horrible. Hikagure's costume was just a pair of boots and gloves, for fuck's sake. They have technology to make her costume work with her quirk. She does not need to walk around without clothes on. Just thinking about it makes Izuku rage. People will be losing their jobs over this. He will make sure of it. For now, he must compose himself. He has a meeting with Todoroki to get to, and doesn't want to go into that angry. Todoroki is a child, and children deserve calm and patience, not anger. There will be a time for anger later when he can direct it at the right people. Todoroki probably gets enough anger directed at him from Endeavor anyways. Vlad King scurried off as soon as he could, not wanting to stay near a fuming Izuku longer than he had to. Aizawa, on the other hand, strolled right up to his former teacher, now co-worker, and fell into step beside him. It's not that he has less fear of Izuku than anyone else, but if you're smart, you never completely lose that fear. But he does know his teacher better than anyone else on staff, save for maybe Nezu. So at this point, he knows Izuku won't take his anger out on innocents and instead likes to save it for the people who actually deserve that pain. In other words, Aizawa isn't in danger because he's not done anything to incur that wrath, and interacting won't hurt anything, or anyone. Sensei, did you ask how Miss Enko got my cell phone number? You know, I'm a pretty private person, so it's been on my mind since yesterday. Aizawa asked. Izuku clapped his hands together, seeming to perk up. Oh yes, I did actually. I quite enjoyed the answer too, I must say. So I can't rule out my untimely demise then, Aizawa grumbled. Oh, Shota, you're so dramatic. Izuku waved off Aizawa's grumbling. My dear niece Enko has been assigned to you in your husband's case as a social worker to help you with adopting a child. She has quite the track record with matching children to a family perfect for them. That's why she has your number. It's on your file. Oh, fuck, Aizawa cursed. God, I'm never going to be rid of your family, am I? Shota, Izuku grinned. You've been an honorary Midoriya since your second year at UA, and once that happens, you know there's no way out. Speaking of, clear your schedule for Friday. You and your husband are coming over for dinner. But, Shota tried to object. Don't argue, it's happening, Izuku interrupted. Now, I must go attend a meeting with Todoroki. Toodles! Shota watched Izuku walk off, now with a pep in his step, as if he wasn't insufferably that teasing and tormenting Shota was what put him in the good mood. With a defeated sigh, Shota walked to the teacher's lounge, where he proceeded to collapse on Hisashi, who easily navigated them to the sofa into a more comfortable position. What's wrong, kitten? Hisashi asked quietly. You aren't normally clingy in public. I'm going to die, Hisashi, Shota stated like it was a fact. We're going to die. What? Why? You know how we want to adopt? Shota grumbled. Hisashi nodded. Yes? What does that have to do with dying? Midoriya Sensei's niece was assigned to be our caseworker. Oh god. Sensei just told me to clear our schedules because we're coming over to dinner on Friday. Both of us, Shota continued. We're going to die, Hisashi. We're going to die, and our ghosts will be expected to get down our semi-corporeal knees and thank him for it. Maybe it won't be that bad? Hisashi tried to be optimistic. Shota made a strained noise. Hisashi, you don't understand. Back when I was his student, Sensei used to drag me home with him after training to eat dinner with his family. There are probably still pictures of me up in their house. I will not live past the teasing and embarrassing stories. It's going to be okay, Shota. We still have a few days to prepare. We'll survive it, Hisashi comforted, hoping he sounded like he believed those words. We're not going to meet our demise. Why are you talking about dying? Hisashi looked up to see Nemuri in front of him, one brow raised questioningly. Sensei told Shota we're expected to eat dinner with his family on Friday. Sensei? Hisashi, we're the teachers. Nemuri's eyes widened. Oh no. Hisashi nodded solemnly. Yeah. Shota, honey, do you want lilies or roses at your funerals? Nemuri asked. Cat-shaped topiaries. Of course, hon. Izuku walked towards his office. His short conversation with Shota having given him enough distraction from his rage over people's incompetence to be in a more appropriate mood for this meeting. When he reached his office door, Todoroki was already there, waiting for him, still looking a bit disgruntled from his costume being met with disapproval. Izuku smiled at him as he unlocked his door. Come on in, and make yourself comfortable. We've got a lot to cover. Izuku went in and settled himself in his desk chair while Shota sat back on the armchair he sat on last time. Before starting the meeting, Izuku tossed Shoto a full bucket twink-sized candy from his drawer. This time, Shoto got straight to eating the candy instead of hesitating like the day before, though he did so rather grumpily. Izuku ignored the fact that Shoto was in a mood and logged onto his laptop, printing something out from it. Alright, Shoto, let's start this meeting, Izuku started cheerfully. As I stated yesterday, this isn't going to be as casual as the chat we had yesterday. Don't take me being blunt and a bit of a hard-ass here personally. I'm here like this during everyone's advising sessions because it is important, okay? Shoto nodded grumpily. Izuku raised an eyebrow. Use your words. Okay, Shoto said. Izuku didn't seem satisfied, and he wrote something down on the paper he printed. Let's start with the basics. Izuku pulled out a notebook of a draw and handed it to Shoto. It was a very nice, thick notebook with a green cover and a place to scrawl your name. This notebook will be your log notebook. I'll be assigning you several things. I want you to keep track of them at home so that you can write everything down here, Izuku instructed. Everyone in class will get one. Tomorrow, I will have a box set up in your classroom for you to deposit it when you get to school. I'll have Shota hand them back at the end of the day, and I'll take them to record information for my own records, so we both have one up-to-date copy. We'll go over the information one-on-one during the advising sessions. Shoto looked at the notebook. What do I use it for? Several things. First, write these down so you remember. Izuku handed Shoto a pen. I want you to write down everything you do in a day. When, how much, and how long. I want to know what your diet is, including how much and what things you eat, how many meals you have, how often you snack. Keep a log of when you go to bed and when you wake up. I want to know what you do for exercise, what your routine is, how long you're at it. Just record your day in detail. Shoto's expression was unreadable. Why? Good habits aren't easy to make, and everyone's different. Knowing how you live will give us a head start in helping me make you a healthy lifestyle that fits your needs in particular. You need to be healthy and need to know how to keep up being healthy. I'm here to make sure that happens, Izuku explained. However, being healthy also shouldn't make you miserable, so I want to know how you do that. So to be sure to write both things down, the things you like and the things you don't like about your current routine, and I want you to continue doing so as we make changes to it. I will take these opinions into account. If, for example, you hate kale, I'm not going to make you eat kale. If you prefer a certain activity at certain times of the day, I can usually accommodate that. Oh. Shoto couldn't really think of anything else to say. Any questions so far? No. Okay then, now let's talk about your costume, Izuku moved on. Until further notice, your hero costume will be designed by me. I do this every time a costume is unacceptable. You will still get input into your costume, so use the logbook to write down any preferences or ideas you have for colors, fabric, or design. I want to give you something that you like, but efficiency and practicality are essential. My costume was approved by the support company, so I don't know what your problem is, Shoto grumbled. The support company also approved of Hakagere's costume, consisting of her being nude except for gloves and a pair of boots, Izuku pointed out. I hope you understand why that is a problem. Shoto was quiet for a moment, thinking on it, then he nodded. That's true, I guess. I had clothes, though, so I don't get what the problem was. Izuku took a breath. The not having clothes part was not the concern you suffered from. I'm more concerned of the fact that you were half covered on ice on your fireside. That cuts off half your quirk. The design could also be more marketable, which shows laziness on the support company's part. I'm not going to use my left side, Shoto stated, outright. That's Endeavor's quirk. I'll be a hero without it. Allow me to be direct with you, because I need you to understand this. Izuku, placing his hands in front of him, made direct unblinking eye contact with Shoto. You will be learning to use your full quirk, or you will be moved to general education. This is to be accomplished, preferably by the end of the sports festival, but ultimately, you have until the end of the semester. What? Shoto seemed confused. I said, Izuku leaned forward slightly, eerily calm, you will learn to use your full quirk, or you will be moved to general education. You're on a time limit to accomplish this, so it's best you don't waste time. No, Shoto said stubbornly. Izuku simply raised an eyebrow but said nothing. You can't make me use it, Shoto snapped, standing up from his seat. You're right, I can't make you use it, Izuku replied as he watched Shoto calmly, never once raising his voice. But I can keep you from becoming a hero. If you choose to remain stubborn, I can transfer you from the hero course to my Gen Ed class and fill the spot in the hero course with one of my Gen Ed kids, who I know will work their ass off to prove they belong there. I don't need the committee approval to do this. The only one above me in this institution is Nezu himself, and he has yet to go against my decisions. My father won't let you do that. Oh, I assure you. Endeavor's inevitable temper tantrum over that decision won't change it. He may think he can get whatever he wants, but he's never messed with a Midoriya before. Shoto opened his mouth as if to argue, then closed it, sat back down, saying nothing. Izuku sighed. Those are the stakes, Shoto, and I need you to understand them. Do you understand? Yes. Tell me what you understand. If I don't learn to use my father's fire by the sports festival, I'll be removed from the hero course, Shoto repeated, sounding like he was barely keeping from gritting his teeth while speaking. And this is why I asked you to tell me your understanding, Izuku said. You clearly heard what I said, but there's some misconceptions about what's happening here. May I explain, or would you like a few minutes break? Some more candy? Shoto looked at him for a moment before speaking hesitantly. I have a choice? Of course you do, Izuku stated simply. I'm a teacher. My job is to help you learn, and being able to understand what you need and make the decisions to have those needs met is an important thing to learn. I do not punish people for asking questions. I will not punish you if you need a few minutes to think things through or calm down. If you want some candy, you can ask for some. You always have a choice. Can I? Shoto bit his lip. Have some more chocolate? Sure. Any kind of in particular? I have everything. Shoto thought for a moment. Fuyumi brought some home, these chocolate with marshmallows in the middle last week. My father burned them before I could have any, and I don't know what they taste like. Izuku gasped dramatically, putting a hand over his heart. Crimes against candy! Unforgivable! Shoto proceeded to have a handful of individually wrapped chocolate-covered marshmallows shaped like various heroes thrust upon him. Can I eat these right now? Yes. Can you? Shoto fiddled with one of the wrappers. Tell me what's going on. I think I'm confused again. Of course, Izuku smiled. You clearly have an issue with the fire half of your quirk, also reflected in your hero costume, and you're upset. I'm telling you that it will be required to use it. The stakes of this is either learning to use it or to be removed from the hero course. Following so far? There is no judgment, frustration, or anger visible from Izuku, so Shoto nodded, feeling calmer because of the candy that he's now decided is his favorite. Marshmallows covered in chocolate was a simple concept, but Shoto was loving it. He didn't get sweet things much, or ever, so he savored this. Good. I may have said it harshly, but I needed you to understand what's at stake to take this seriously. Now that I have, and you're more willing to listen, I don't have to be harsh, Izuku explained. Now to clear up a few things, I said it's preferable if you'll be able to use your fire by the sports festival, but that's not the deadline. You have until the end of the semester for that. Got it? Yes. Just so we're perfectly clear here, I don't expect you to be perfect or skilled with it by then, alright? This deadline is for you to have to be at a place that allows you to be able to use your fire and be willing to work with it to become skilled, Izuku continued. I will not force you to do anything, the choice belongs to you, but when you're ready to try, I will be there to help you. Do you understand what I'm saying? I think, Shoto replied. My father will like it, and that I'll be forced to use his quirk, but he won't like it taking so long. Shoto, it's not Endeavor's quirk. He doesn't control it. You do. And I'm not going to force you to use it. This has to be your choice. This thinking that your quirk is not your own is damaging, and we're going to start fixing it right now, Izuku said seriously. Add this to the things in your notebook. I want you to start calling it your power, your fire, your quirk. I don't want you saying any part of your quirk belongs to anyone but you. The fire doesn't belong to Endeavor. The ice doesn't belong to your mother. Both sides belong to you, and only you. Tell yourself that. Out loud, multiple times a day, then write down what you said when you log doing so in your notebook. What will that accomplish? Shoto asked. It'll change your mindset over time. Remind yourself multiple times a day that your quirk is yours, no one else's, and your brain will eventually listen, Izuku said. It's a good starting place. As for your father, I don't really care what place he thinks he should be progressing at or what goals are for you. Your training is the sole responsibility of UA, and he has no say in it. Shoto blinked. What? You're at school to train, Shoto. You shouldn't be doing any extra outside of school unless and until instructed to do so by Aizawa or me. Especially not this early in the year, Izuku stated. The transfer of responsibility was stated clearly in the enrollment paperwork. However, if you feel you do not need or want extra practice time or an additional one on the training, you're free to reserve one of UA's training gyms. Just remember, only third years can use the gyms without the staff member present. Got it, kid? Yes, sensei. Good. Now, is there anything else you want me to cover right now? No, sensei. Izuku nodded. You're free to go then. I'll let you know when we're meeting again as soon as I have it scheduled. Oh, and don't forget to fill out your log notebook like I instructed. Shoto nodded, then gathered his things and his remaining marshmallow chocolates, then left the office to head home. And that was Chapter 4. Midoriya gets mad, Shota plans his own funeral, and Shoto decides marshmallows are an A+ of Immortality is the definition of looks can be deceiving by TheFoggyLondonView. That was the final chapter. Thank you all so much for listening. I will see you next week with a new story. Bye!